Hello, everyone, and welcome to the official trailer of the NPC Dungeon podcast. If you're here, you're probably into D&D or some other tabletop role-playing game or games. If so, cool, because so am I. The purpose of this trailer is to give you an idea of what this podcast is going to be all about and introduce you kind of to me and who I am and why I'm doing this. So what is this podcast going to be all about? Well, two things. The main purpose that I had in mind when I decided to start this podcast was to share advice and tips for being a good dungeon master or game master for your games. But if you're not a DM or a GM or you don't intend to be, that's fine too. I'll also try to go over fun character ideas, tips on how to be a good player, and just overall stuff like that. However, I also want to share D&D stories on this podcast. I'll be telling stories from previous campaigns that I've run or whatever current campaign I happen to be running at the time. And I'll try to make about half my episodes all about these kinds of stories. So the important question, what about me? What makes me qualified to do this? Well, I've been running campaigns of my own for about 5 years now. I actually have run just about as many, if not more, sessions as a game master than I have played in games. And I'm also a writer, so I know a little bit about narrative structure and story structure, and I've been doing that for just about the same amount of time. And if you're curious, I write sci-fi novels, which is funny because my tabletop game of choice is fantasy, it's D&D. And that's about it. I'm sure you'll learn a lot more about me throughout the course of this podcast, and I look forward to sharing advice and stories with you all during it. So until next time, let's learn something.